What's up, Yarvelians? This is Yarvel here, and today we'll be taking a little bit of a turn away from any games for a second, well, any playing of games, and having a quick look at something that's just cropped up, which I found searching through a couple of websites, and I'm quite interested in. So, this is Grim Dawn. Made from the developers of Titan Quest and the people at Crate, and it's basically an improved version of what Titan Quest was. I suppose you could say it was sort of this unannounced sequel of a different game, which wasn't Titan Quest, because this is completely different to be considered Titan Quest, or at least on the same lines of Titan Quest. So I'll just quickly read. I'm on the Grim Dawn website, and as you're watching this, there's going to be pictures coming up of various different things, which I will talk about in a second. So, introduction, and I'll also link the Grim Dawn website in the description. Right, introduction. Grim Dawn is an action role-playing game intended for digital distribution on the PC. It is being developed by the veterans of Iron Law Entertainment, the makers of Titan Quest. Grim Dawn is being built with the Crate's own improved version of the Iron Law engine and toolset, which basically means they've taken what Titan Quest was built from, everything that made it run, and they've improved it to best suit their game. The same technology used to create Titan Quest. It says it there. So yeah, that toolset is basically Titan Quest, but they've built upon Titan Quest and they've developed this game. As a spiritual successor, Grim Dawn will attempt to better perfect the magical formula of exploration, character advancement and loot collection pioneered by Diablo. The problem with that, well, first of all, looking at as a spiritual successor, what they're trying to say there is not just a spiritual successor or a successor to Titan Quest, but they've made the dig there, but to Diablo as well. And people don't like Diablo 3. The cold hard fans of Diablo 3 are not fans, the cold hard fans of Diablo weren't great fans of Diablo 3. They didn't like it. And from what I've seen so far on this game, of what videos there are, everyone is saying this is what Diablo 3 should have looked like. This is Diablo 3. So, does this mean that Grim Dawn has done so well that they're sort of being a spiritual successor to other games like Titan Quest, which is the most similar game out of all of them because it is built on it? Have they actually made their own Diablo 3, or a poor man's Diablo 3, but once again the cheaper version, or the the less popular version is better than the mainstream game? So yeah, they're basically want to perfect, like it says, perfect the magical formula of exploration and character advancement, as well as loot collection, which is basically RPG elements in every RPG game. So that's their main sort of priority, is to do all of that, which I've just read out. And then it goes on to say, players will be thrust into the dark, war-torn world of Cain. I think that's right, yeah, where a once proud empire has been brought to ruin and the human race driven to the edge of extinction. Sounds familiar. Karen has become a ground zero of eternal war between two otherworldly powers, one seeking to use human bodies as a resource, the other intent upon destroying the human race before that can happen. This cataclysmic war has not only decimated human civilization, but is warping the very fabric of reality, and in its wake giving life to new horrors. For humankind, it is the dawn of a grim new age, where iron has replaced gold as currency, and the importance of salt as a weapon makes it far too valuable to waste on food. Okay. Small enclaves of human survivors exist scattered throughout the world, holed up in hidden refuges. These humans have quietly watched the warring invaders destroy one another and have become wise to the strength and vulnerabilities of the otherworldly foes. A few survivors have begun to exhibit strange new abilities after surviving possession or exposure to the warp, which has not been mentioned before about this warp. These unnatural powers are feared by some, but give many new hope of launching a resistance to fight the outsiders and reclaim what's left of their world. So there's the main little bit of the story here. The world's been torn apart by these otherworldly beings. One wants to use humans, the others wants to get rid of humans completely. And from what I've seen, they are basically mutant cross zombie monsters, and you will see some of the monsters in the combat based images, which I will be showing on the little slideshow I've got going here. So yeah, I'm not sure. I sound very sort of hard to please at the moment, but I do feel quite impressed with what they've got. The story's pretty good. Could use a little bit more development to really give the reader that idea of what they're planning to do in this game. But yeah, other than that, it seems to be a quite set story, quite a simple story mostly. But when it says here, these unnatural powers are these unnatural powers are feared by some, but give many new hope of launching a resistance to fight the outsiders, really makes you think that this game is going to be based around elemental magic and all of these sort of sorcerer based characters. And I've got up here in the Masteries section, and it's on the forums, which is also on the website, and it's got like the table of contents is what is a mastery, how does it work, initial masteries and future downloadable content. So we've got combat, and I'm going to open that up in a new tab. Okay. In the Imperial Army, soldiers are trained to survive in the most hellish conditions and hold the line against the deadliest enemies of the Empire. Soldiers are oriented toward close combat with sword and shield. What they lack in outright damage dealing, they make up for endurance and self-sufficiency. So this is basically your tank character. The character that goes running in, all guns blazing, or as it happens, all swords blazing, sword and shield, running in, tearing up the opponent and stuff, and they're basically hard to take down. About half of the skills in the combat mastery are passive, and we've got like stuff like bulk work and vanguard, blitz, blade arc, field command, battle shout / knockdown, will to live, Fighting Spirit, and Force Wave. Force Wave? 4S Wave. 4S Wave. Yeah, so you're looking at combat there, which is the combat / soldier class, which doesn't sound too bad. That's pretty simple. That's what you normally get in RPG games, and you get them in like World of Warcraft. I mean, you can make it was completely different with Titan Quest because you could choose different skill trees which affected the way you played, which is basically the same for Skyrim. What you choose affects how you play. So you could become a tank archer, so you're big and strong and hard to take down, but you're also skilled with a bow, and that's been happening a lot recently in games. But from what it looks like, Grim Dawn is bringing back the old RPG elements, where you get set masteries and you expand on them in order to play through, so you've got to think. Then we move on to Demolition. Sappers are the pyrotechnic engineers to the Imperial Army. Their primary duty, blowing stuff up. Oh, doesn't sound too bad. Fighting best from a distance, sappers engage enemies with guns and a wide variety of fire and electrical traps, bombs and ammunition. Whether the target is hard or soft, sappers have the right explosive for the job, and they deal out massive damage with an insane zeal. Demolition is sort of similar to the military shooter style Engineer. It has plenty of grenado, satchel charge and shotgun action, but no mechanical pets. It has almost entirely active skills, which consist of grenado, thermite mines, canister bomb, mortar trap, high impact, fire strike and explosive strike, which are all very like from other games. Instead of you would think an engineer to be the one who puts down a turret, which I wouldn't be surprised if the demolition guy here did put down, or does have the skill to put down a turret. But other than that, he seems to be very trap based, so when in combat he'll be able to put down mines or something, and the enemies will cross over the mines, and those mines have different elemental effects or something. So that's basically a look at the demolition. So we've covered combat and demolition. We've got 3 more. Next is occult. Once hunted by Imperial forces in an effort to control arcane power and knowledge, occultists wield diverse powers granted to them by 3 witch gods and rely heavily on the eldritch creatures they are able to summon. Along with summoning, their arcane repertoire includes blessings, curses and offensive spells that inflict damage with poison, acid and chaotic energy. Occultists excel with neither sword nor gun, but can use either to augment their offense. Some of the skills, they've got Raven, Hellhound, Emberclaw, Hellfire Aura, Molten Breath, Sigil of Destruction, Witchfire Enchantment, Chaos Bolts, Eyes of Dreeg, Curse of Sloth, Covenant of Soleil, Energy Transfer. This is basically your classic Necromancer class. They can summon creatures from the depth of wherever. I suppose they've got a little bit of Hunter class in there as well, where you can have a pet and all sorts of stuff like that. And they seem to be the closest thing this far to a mage or an elementalist or a pyromancer, or you know, one of those sorcerer type beings, because they've got the arcane powers, which we heard in there. So then we move on to Nightblade. Now already just reading that, it's not night as in knight in shining armour, it's night as in pitch black outside, which makes you think dark soldier, dark warrior, and well, there's not much here. The Nightblade mastery plays a lot faster than combat, but is much more fragile. That's it. Details were revealed in Grim Misadventures 5 Dance of Shadows, which is another link which takes me to wow, okay, it takes us to a completely different page. Hello and welcome to the bi-weekly Zantai extravaganza. And oh my Jesus, there's pages and pages of stuff. So it does actually talk about Nightblade, and it says, like, before I delight you with the Nightblade mastery, and delight with hearing monster. Now as for Nightblade, the master of sharp things and poor vision, this will be purely as a mechanics preview, as the Nightblade art is not ready for prime time. Something about the artist being too busy making lab equipment and creepy creatures for me to pump up with unfair stats. So without further rambling, and it says a disclaimer, the following names, mechanics, concepts and suggestions and ideas are work in progress and may not reflect the final product. So this is one of those classes where you're either going to get it a couple of months after the main release, or it's going to be released in the full game and you will not get access to it in early beta / alpha or the end of the beta progress. And it says, he slices, he dices, he even does your laundry, if laundry consists of monsters and loot. He is the Nightblade. The goal with this mastery was to create an agile counterpart to the tougher soldier mastery, so the sort of scouty side to the tank. The Nightblade excels at rapid movement, deception and heavy damage. So he is very assassin-like. Yeah, very assassin-like, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably go with poison stuff. So skill 1, Shadow Strike. Skill 2, or modifier 1 to that, is Master of Shadow. Skill 2 is Blade Swarm. Modifier 2 is Explosive End. Passive 3 is Dual Blades. That's it. There's not many. That's not very many skills for that class, which really does show he's a work in progress. It's the same again for the Arcane class. The skills of the Arcanist haven't been fully defined yet, but the developers are planning it with some big nukes. In the preview video we'll also see it spell Maven Sphere of Protection. That the preview video is the only information you will get on this class, which is kind of shocking because they've already had or talked about that class sort of in the class which I talked about being like the Necromancer, which I can't remember the name of, the Occultist. That had arcane powers, so I don't know where they're going with that, because they can't have two classes based around the same thing. Even if one class has the extra addition of, you know, summoning different pets and items into the game, but they still talk about having arcane powers. So I don't know where they're going with that. But right now we're going to move on to media, and we're going to look at all the pictures I've got up, and it goes from, I'm scrolling down here, from April to May 2010, the first few pictures. I don't think I picked any pictures from there, but you'll just see basic pictures, and I'll talk about what you're seeing. And then there's June, July 2010, August, September 2010, December, January 2010 to 2011, February, March 2011, May, June 2011, July, August 2011, November, December 2011, January, February 2012, March, April 2012, August, September 2012, 2012, October and December 2012, which is the last picture at the moment. And just before I get going, there's a disclaimer at the top of the page. Even it's the same disclaimer on the screenshots, videos and music section. I'll show you some music in a bit, which is something I've never seen before, but I'll go on to that later. And this disclaimer is, please note that developers do not usually allow their audience to see a game this early in development, while the art is still in such a rough, unpolished state. it makes me question why they've done this. They're saying sort of, it's like, oh, you know, game developers don't normally do this. It's like they're trying to impress, because from what I've seen, even on the first few pictures, all the way back at, I've forgotten the date already, April to May 2010, it looks as good as Diablo 3 did in its trailers when it was first released. That's just my opinion. They're either taking the approach of letting the fans be a bit more of a part in this and say to the developers, I'm not too sure about this picture, this needs changing, which could be a brilliant approach and it really gets the fans involved. Or it could be a way of saying, haha, look what we can do this early in development. So we'll see where they go from there. However, we felt it was worth the risk because we want you, our fans, to be involved in the development of the game and to watch things progress. Oh, I was right. I haven't read this yet. So yeah, I was right. They want the fans to question. They want the fans to give their own advice to the developers, because right now, if you go in, I know they're building it off one of the best RPGs and Titan Quest, and following in the footsteps of Diablo and other RPGs, but you never know how to make a proper good game, no matter what sort of genre, until the fans get involved, because the fans are the ones who play it. I mean, if I started suggesting things, or I came up with game ideas, and then I had the chance to actually put these game ideas in a game which is in current progress of being built, I'd be over the moon. I would have the chance to play my dream RPG, my dream first-person shooter, and then I'll be able to get as much as I can from it. So it's quite a good approach here to let the fans get so involved. So please, keep in mind that we're not releasing materials to drum up a buzz a few months in advance of release. Rather, Grim Dawn is still pre-alpha, and I might have even missed a pre. Thank you for understanding. So they're quite open to the game being in pre-alpha, but they're still proud of it, proud enough to let the fans question, give advice, and suggest things. So yeah, there's the disclaimer. I've just changed tab by accident. Okay, we've got screenshots here, but I'm going to be talking to you about the ones which I've put up, which are taken from the actual website. And these pictures I'm looking at just to show you A, what the map looks like, or the areas look like so far, B, the enemies, C, the combat, and D, all of the above. So looking at the pictures, combat this is, you can see a lot of magic just by looking at it. All these pretty colours and pretty pink explosions and stuff immediately makes you look at the screen and go mage or summoner class or something like that. So that sort of goes back to my earlier point at the start of this, that this is going to be a very magic based game. You can also see in these pictures the monsters. Now, aren't they very zombie-like? You've got like the big bruising boss guys, and then you've got the normal little, you know, the easy to kill little midget zombie guys who aren't sort of at any risk. It's like the satyrs in Titan Quest, and they're all very zombie-like. And that's all I've seen so far, is these mutant slash zombie monster creature things, and we haven't really seen the other suggested enemy, which are the people looking to destroy humankind. Because the way I see it, these sort of zombie mutant people creatures are the the creatures made by the side who want to preserve humans and make them into their own fighting force, which is basically turning them into zombies and making zombies crawl over the place and kill everything. But yeah, we have yet to see the other enemy, which I think we won't see for a while. Also, if you pay attention to these next couple of pictures, look how similar it is to Titan Quest. This is the inventory screen and the shop. I would like to point out, if I get a bigger picture up a second, where is it? Here it is. I'd like to point out that the first one's censored, but then the second one, it looks different, but look at the stuff. You get different hats, different armour, you got guns, there's guns in there. The salvage dealer Argus, he's got 5 tabs up there. One looks like melee weapons, the next is ranged weapons, the third is armour, the fourth is potions and stuff, and the fifth, I think that's to buy back if you sell something by accident. But I'd like to drag your attention to the very far right hand side, where it's got the attributes and the name of the guy and his level and all his XP and stuff. Now down the bottom, the combat stats and the resistance part, that's pretty damn the same from Titan Quest. But if we go up in the attributes, there's 3 there: cunning, physic and spirit. 3 which you can advance. But those 3, I wouldn't be surprised if they change from class to class, and they're not the same for every class. And I'd like to point out that health and energy cannot be increased with your available points anymore either. So yeah, there's a little look at the inventory screen. Yeah, and the title page, this is basically what it's going to look like when you start up the game. Play game, custom game, survival mode, I wonder what that is. Options, credits and exit. And it, you know, you can see there's a couple of I suppose there's dead zombie people, there's a burning house, a windmill, a waterfall in the background, and a carriage carrying coffins. And that basically, just that, sets the whole game and shows the fact that it's going to be set in a very dark environment with very dark and evil enemies. So yeah, you get a good idea just through the pictures and the title screen, the menu screen even, sorry, what this game's going to look like. I'm on the videos tab now on the website, and we've got videos from May 2012, April 2012, all the way down to October 2012. I won't play any of these for copyright reasons, but you can find them in the link in the description from the Grim Dawn website. It's on media, and then the second tab, videos. But it's got stuff like the pre-alpha soldier and demolition melee sort of videos, how they made the sounds, occultist class, combat first look, and the old grove environment. So they're releasing basic little videos at the moment, and I'm quite impressed with what I see. It's a really heavy hitting combat mode. It is very familiar when you're looking at Titan Quest, but it's different, and you'll see why when you look at these videos if you watch my videos of Titan Quest and how they differ. And now I'm just going to talk to you about music. They've got a tab here, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 music, 10 tracks, which they've put on their media page. I've never seen this done before, especially in RPGs and especially in games in pre-alpha. Why have they chosen to do this? Maybe it goes back to the earlier point of they want the fans to say, no, I don't like that, it doesn't sound very good. But the fans at this current time don't know if it would suit a certain situation. Let's just I'll play you the first track, which is called The Captain. So listen up, you may not be able to hear it quite clearly, but just listen. I played the first 30 seconds of that, and that already, from experience, that sounds like the sort of soundtrack you'll get when you're not in combat and you're sort of just walking around a abandoned city with very little life, you know, watching all these sort of survivors sort of cowardly, no, not cowardly, but, you know, all scared and all shaking on the floor, you know, one of those depressing themes. And then we'll go on to Keep Moving. So this is Keep Moving. That's combat based, definitely. So there's a bit of a contrast. I won't play the rest just in case of copyright, but that was Grim Dawn, Keep Moving, and Grim Dawn, The Captain. And there's a sort of a bit of a contrast, and just by listening to those, it does sound very dark, and I think they've done that quite well to match the theme. Now we're moving on to my last point, which isn't really my point, but there's also a tab up on the Grim Dawn website saying buy now. Now clicking on this doesn't bring you to sort of like a PayPal, purchase this for how much and how much. It actually says show your support as the title, and then the subtitle is Grim Dawn game keys now available. So this is basically the normal approach to any RPG, is to give out game keys, and then certain people play the game, they give back their feedback, and the game changes, or it doesn't changes to what they say. People make videos about it, these videos go viral, people get into the sort of like the swing of playing this game, they like the look of it, they want to buy it, they start showing their support. And this is basically their way of advertising the game to the greater community and really make it go boom. So I'm just going to read out the game key bit. We have received many emails from enthusiastic fans asking if they could support Crate Entertainment and Grim Dawn. To facilitate this, we have decided to allow people to purchase a Grim Dawn game key that will entitle you to certain benefits as you describe below each purchase button on the following page. As described below each purchase button on the following page. The money you contribute through your purchase of Grim Dawn game key will be used to develop additional content and features for the game beyond what our current budget allows. We hope that you will show your support and help us continue to build great games for our loyal fans. Sorry about all the legal sounding mumbo jumbo below, but we can accept your payments. We must display it in accordance with new Vista MasterCard requirements for accoutrements websites. And it's got like all the purchasing information and return fund policy, and it says accept and continue. I haven't clicked that yet, so I'm going to click it now, and it takes us down to another section under the show your support. We've expanded our pre-order offerings for many people who heard about our Kickstarter too late but wanted a way to get in on the action and support Grim Dawn. Please note that some additions and rewards may only be available for a limited duration. Existing supporters will receive all the new rewards in equivalent version. For example, Pioneer equals Epic and Patron equals Legendary. This will happen automatically and there is no action required on your part. Also, please note, for those who may be concerned about their name appearing in the credits, this does not happen automatically. Unless you enter your name using this form, it will not appear in the credits. So if you do not wish your name to appear in the credits, just don't set anything. You also have the option of using an alias though, so long as it's appropriate. We reserve the right to remove any offensive aliases without warning. So by the sounds of it, you get put in some form of credits for doing this purchase. So we've got in sort of colour order here, and right now it's in dollars. Digital release of Grim Dawn is in silver, buy now for $18, and it comes with download the full game upon release direct from us, DRM free or also via Steam and other distribution sites. You get a 10% discount for buying early. Sleep more soundly knowing you've made the world a little bit better. Then you get into the Pioneer edition, which is gold and €35. You download the full game from DRM, Steam and other sites. Access to the beta once available. Digital download of Grim Dawn original music. Start the game in style with an exclusive Swashbuckler's coat, which is an in-game item. An enchanted Burwitch brew which never runs dry, and also another in-game item. Far from granting unfair advantage, this vile brew is certain to dull your combat abilities and induce vomiting. Right, so already we can see the difference between the digital release and the Pioneer edition, where they have different things for you to buy. The Grim Dawn Patron edition is $50. Everything from the $35 version plus entry to the alpha and beta, your name in the credits, which is what they were talking about, massively stylish George Washington style powdered wig and game accessory, and Crate Story, downloadable PDF that will give you insight into our epic struggle to found a new game studio and create Grim Dawn from the final days of Iron Law up to release day. So it's basically like you get a special edition of like Borderlands 2 and it comes with a DVD of how it was made. That's basically what that is. And then we get into blue section, the Grim Dawn Loyalist edition for $85. Everything from the $50 version, plus first Grim Dawn expansion when released. So as soon as that's released, you get the download for it. A Will-O-the-Wisp pet that acts as a light source in the dark, which is also an in-game item. High-resolution digital game map suitable for use as a wallpaper or to print out for your wall. So then you get a game map, whilst adding the £50 editions, which include the $35 and the £18. So there's quite a lot for you to get a game key. So they do really brag and say, oh look, we can do this, we can do that, and it makes people want to buy it. So yeah, there you go guys. This is Grim Dawn so far. I hope I've made a lot of sense, but this is my first time doing that, and I'm expecting to do it again in the future because I've got another game which I'm quite looking forward to, which is in like beta. I should have really talked about it months ago. We're talking, actually no, talking years ago, but you'll hear about that one day. So expect to see some Grim Dawn on the channel one day. I'm looking forward to it actually. I would have preferred if it was a real successor to Titan Quest, to be a bit more like Titan Quest and follow down the sort of like the Greek mythology and the Egyptian mythology and the Asian mythology road again. But you know, this is looking really good. I'm quite excited for it. and I think the developers are doing really well so far. So please click on the link in the description, follow it through, watch all the videos, search it up in YouTube, some Grim Dawn videos, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing this advance further into the future. Stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.